A new racing movie has hit theaters called F1, directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, and Javier Bardem. This movie is about a Formula One driver who comes out of retirement to help mentor and team up with a young new driver. So we're going to talk about this movie and help you decide if this is the right one to watch as a Christian. Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm your host Tim, and we exist to help Christians live in the world, not of the world, by utilizing our convictions in the movies and shows we watch. F1 is rated PG-13 for some strong language and some action. So we're going to dive into any convictions you may have that may prevent you from watching this movie, any theological themes present in F1, and dive in later to my personal thoughts on the film. Without further ado, let's dive into the Christian Conviction Meter. If this is your first time here, the Christian Conviction Meter is a series of 5 convictions that may distract or hinder your relationship with Jesus. Ultimately, it's a guide, tool, and resource to help you find good movies to watch based on the convictions God has given you. Let's head into our first category. And for violence and gore here, it's about average for a PG-13 film. There's some explosions and there is some crashes, things of that sort that come with driving at ridiculously high speeds. There is also some tension moments within the film, as there's some pushing and shoving. Nothing gets really bloody or violent. There's some injuries that happen in the film, but it is nothing super gory. But we're going to give this a 3 out of 5 in this category. In terms of lust, there is a bit of a flirtatious romance that does take place in this film that does lead into some passionate kissing, which eventually we see this couple end up in the bedroom. There is no nudity a part of this movie, which is a good thing, but these are things to keep in mind. We're going to give this a 2 out of 5 in this category. Moving on to our next category, and that is going to be substances. There's no real drugs contained within the film, but there is a decent amount of alcohol here. Of course, if you know anything about Formula One racing, you know that when a champion wins, they spray champagne out into the crowd, or actually the top podium sprays out into the crowd. Some of those things are a part of this movie, as well as some beer and hard liquor are also part of this movie. Tequila is also dropped in as well. It's going to be a 3 out of 5 in this category as well. Our next category is profanity, and this is a very strong area, part of the film. The BI word is used, the A word is used, the DA word, DI word, as well as the SH word, and I'm sure a few other language stuff is used throughout the film. Hell is also mentioned as well. The interesting thing here about this film in particular is the fact that while it is rated PG-13, if I remember correctly, I believe there are 2 F words used throughout the film. One towards the kind of beginning of the film, one about midway through the film. So those are things to keep in mind. Again, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. It is interesting for a PG-13 film to have multiple uses of this word, but that being said, it is a part of this movie, and there is, like I said, strong language throughout the film. We're going to give this category a 4 out of 5 here. And our last category is intense/horror scenes. This is not a horror movie, which means you don't have to worry about any horror elements contained within this movie. That being said, though, it is about racing, and racing is naturally intense. You're talking about making decisions in milliseconds worth of time. You're talking about racing at hundreds of miles per hour. These are intense moments. It's an intense film, and so that is felt throughout the entire movie. Like I mentioned in the violence and gore category, there is some crashes, some explosions. There is just a lot of intensity and medical issues and lots of different things in this movie. There also is some clips of an old race that does happen, and talking about a severe crash that does take place in it. There is no death within the film, which is a nice change of pace, but there is also the talking about deaths of family members, but it's not shown on screen. All these things to keep in mind, keep the tensions high in this movie. It's going to be a 4 out of 5 once again here. So wrapping up our 5 categories, it is going to be a 16 out of 25 here on the conviction meter. It is high in its intensity and it is high in its language. So if you are not comfortable with a lot of language being used, especially the use of a few F-bombs in the film, or just not a big fan of language in general, or you're just not a big fan of intense movies, this may not be the right one to watch for you. Again, all these things are just to help you figure out whether or not F1 aligns with your convictions. If it does, I'll talk about why you should go and watch the film. But for now, let's dive into some theological themes that are present within F1. And the most churchy we get here is really the talking about miracles. There is a joke about the racing gods here, which is just kind of humor that's been used throughout history of sports, right? It's not, an actual religion by any means necessary, and I don't believe it is being blasphemous in any way, shape, or form. It's just expressing frustration or just, hey, there's nothing we can do. We can't control the situation. It is out of our hands. These things are a part of the movie. But again, it's not really talking about Christianity. They are talking about miracles, but even that doesn't talk about Christianity whatsoever. There's no references to Jesus, the Bible, Christianity, the church. None of that within this film. So with that wrapped up, let's dive into my thoughts on F1. So when I grew up, I watched a good amount of racing when I was a kid. Between cars coming out right when I was a kid to, of course, just watching NASCAR at its peak, between the 90s and, the early 2000s. NASCAR was at its height. F1 was never really a racing program I watched. It wasn't a television thing I turned into. And most of the time, anything Formula One wise, the closest thing I would watch or pay attention to would be the Indy 500. But after watching this movie, I definitely am more interested in learning about Formula One racing. The way it is captured in this film is really, really cool, and I think this could be a way to bring more fans into the sport. But the best thing, or one of the best things about this movie, is it is such an easy buy-in. At least for me, it's an easy buy-in. I enjoy sports, so seeing a team competing, working together, chasing after a goal, chasing after wins, chasing after that championship, it's an easy rallying thing for me to get behind. At the same time, too, with these elements, you buy into the characters very, very easy. The fact that they are chasing after a goal and chasing after something, I think all of us want. We all want to succeed. We all want to win in some way, shape, or form. So it's an easy way for us as the audience to be bought into this movie. And that in and of itself is so well done. And it is and means good storytelling. And that is really what you want with an original film like this. What also helps with that is having a good cast. Brad Pitt is fantastic in his role as Sonny Hayes. Damson Idris is not an actor I'm familiar with, but I do enjoy him in his role. Javier Bardem's great. You also have a few other actors and actresses here who all just do a really good job and help to create a very believable world here. The world building is really solid, and obviously it should be because it is 1000% based off a real life sport, and it even references real life drivers in this day and age in the 2020s. But what really takes it a step further is its visuals. Its cinematography is absolutely fantastic. Joseph Kosinski, if you're not familiar with him, he was the director behind Top Gun Maverick, and the way he is able to capture these moments, right? He did it so well in Top Gun Maverick. I think that's one of the best visually looking films in the 2020s. I think it's just visually stunning. This one is no different, and it is visually stunning to the different camera angles used to capture the different moments of not just the race and not just the drivers, but also the crew and watching the track, and you get to see all of these moments, and it is just so well done. You get to see and have moments where you feel like you are the one going through this track, or you get to look at the intense focus on our characters' eyes as they're trying to make sure that they make the correct turns, they do the correct movements. Otherwise, a millisecond can turn into a lifetime of hurt. And so it's just done so well. I just think in terms of cinematography, I think Kosinski's one of the best at doing these type of movies and inviting us, the audience, into the driver's seat a little bit, and it is just so cool. Now, I will say this, it is a long movie. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes, and there are moments that can feel pretty long, but I do think the pacing overall is really solid here, and so it's its musical score done by the GOAT Hans Zimmer. It is such a engaging movie that the intensity and its emotions, and even in the quiet character moments, it is just so good, and it is enjoyable. It pauses where it needs to pause. It goes quick where it needs to go quick. Again, just the pacing in this movie is solid. Is it long? Yes, but pacing is still good. I didn't know what to expect with this movie. I knew we would get a pretty enjoyable racing film, and we've had a few over the years, but this one I think tops them all. I think this one is just fantastic on every level. It is 100% a crowd pleaser of a film. It has heart, it has emotions, it has some humor, it has some shocking moments and twists, and some moments where you're on the edge of your seat, some moments you cheer, and it just, again, it is a absolute crowd pleaser for this summer. And at the end of the film, I had a big smile on my face. This was a enjoyable movie, and I really like it. It surprised me in all the right ways. And I'm not a big crazy F1 fan, right? It's not something I actively watch. Man, this movie is fantastic. And I would say, as of right now, I know I said it a few weeks ago, but this is 100% right now, as of end of June 2025, and this may change, but this is, as of right now, I think the best movie of the year. And man, there's a lot of movies left. I wouldn't be surprised by if at the end of the year, it is still one of my favorite movies of the year. So overall, I'm giving it a 9.4 out of 10. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I do think it is the best movie of 2025 thus far, beating out our previous, which was How to Train Your Dragon. So it's a 16 out of 25 on the conviction meter, and it is a 9.4 out of 10 in our review. Those are my thoughts, so let me know yours down in the comments below. Let's chat all things about F1 in the comments. And while you're down there, consider hitting that like and subscribing for us, joining our community here on YouTube. It just helps to send us out into the algorithm and allow us to reach more Christians so they can utilize their convictions to ultimately continue to follow Jesus better. And with that being said, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with us here. We truly appreciate it. It means the absolute world to us. But before you go, there are a few video recommendations over here that YouTube is recommending to you. I have no idea what they've picked. Hopefully it's good ones, and we'll see you all over there.